A 300-hour Starfield review. Usually people lie about playing it for 100 hours, but this one, 300. This will be interesting.
Welcome back to Fudge Muppet. My name is Scott, and my god damn am I so excited to be making this video. Todd Howard and Bethesda Game Studios have done it. Starfield is a fantastic game. When Starfield was first revealed, I wasn't really excited, and the first full reveal left me a little wanting. I really wasn't convinced, and if anything, I just wanted Elder Scrolls 6 more. After the showcase earlier this year, I was more open, a real wait-and-see approach, and holy hell, I waited and I saw. This game is incredible. Honestly, some of Bethesda's finest work. Michael and I...
How? It's literally Skyrim in space. But worse, technically.
I have sunk a combined playtime of over 300 hours at this point, and my god, there is still more to see. This game is huge. They have made it far more role-playing centric than ever before, and this is a major key for us.
What do you mean far more roleplay centric than the... It's less role-centric than Fallout 76 currently is. There's only one way any mission can end. There's no such thing as, oh, here's a mission and here's two ways how you can end it. No, absolutely not. Best case scenario, that mission has a dialogue option for no combat. That's it. Absolute tons of essential non-killable enemies, which means there is no impact that you can actually have on the storyline. How is this roleplay centric? Because you have a couple of dialogue options now that you previously didn't have? I mean, okay. Violence or no violence, that's your choice? Wow.
We have done multiple playthroughs, tackling different sides of the experiences, exploring the many systems, factions, and quests, and man, there is so much more to do. Honestly, I'm overwhelmed. This video will contain no spoilers, we don't want to ruin any experiences, and hence, a full critique isn't something we can do right now, and after we have spent some serious time exploring the fullness of the...
Notice that the moment he actually shot her, she bugged out. Let's check that one again. That's a little bit too soon. Well, watch this, check it.
Now, and after we have spent...
Oop, and bam! Literally teleports to the other side. I wonder if they're gonna mention this. That NPCs literally sometimes just teleport or are stuck in the air.
Some serious time exploring the fullness of the galaxy after we've done lots of builds, after we've really just grasped everything that we can in the game, we will come back with a new analysis. But still, there is so much to say right now. This game is enormous. There is so much content, so much to do, but at the same time, there are so many possibilities within the same content we have experienced. Role-playing is hugely important to us. We love to get deep into the lore and create backstories for character builds that
dude, look at this. They have penises for arms.
Truly feel a part of the world, and in the past, we have done so for Skyrim and Fallout 4, but much of the role-playing in those games comes from your own headcanon experience and cool aesthetics and archetypes, but Starfield changes everything by far. This is the most vivid role-playing experience that Bethesda has ever produced. This game has the most inbuilt systems for role-playing of all BGS games, period. The dialogue, the characters, and the quest writing is so good and so vast. There is so much...
The dialogue is better. The dialogue is unquestionably better than in any other game. But if you're gonna try and tell me that this game is anything but the main storyline, I'm gonna press X to doubt, buddy.
Much variance in dialogue, and your background, traits, and skills matter. They really make you feel like your character is seen and understood by the other characters in the game. You can truly express yourself. I, for example, chose to start with a gunslinger type character. I picked the Space Scoundrel background and the traits Freestar Collective Settler, Serpent's Embrace, meaning I'm part of the Varun religion, and Wanted, which means I have a bounty on me, but not the conventional bounty you get for crime, but a special case. bounty hunters actually came after me during the game, and there were so many instances where I could use dialogue options for the trait wanted, expressing that I could relate to being on the wrong side of the law or have someone chasing you. And the same goes for my religion. There were some really neat instances where I got some neat...
Okay, so we're literally talking about picking the cannibal perk in any Fallout game. Got it.
Armor or could get past Varun hostiles, and the Freestar trait came up a lot when I was in their worlds, adding extra layers of character expression, and your background also comes up a lot. I had dialogue options for being a space scoundrel, and for example, Michael picked the gangster background and had a whole other experience, especially on Neon. It really allows your character to be represented in-game in a meaningful way. The same goes for skills, many of which are frequently used in dialogue, and not just persuasion. For instance, a thing such as security can come up in dialogue if you have the skill, but while on the topic of persuasion, this is by far the most engaging form it has had in Bethesda RPGs. When you persuade, you actually enter a series of turns where you can pick from ranging difficulty dialogue options to try and fill out the bar and successfully persuade the character, but on top of that, there is also a degree of nuance. While I can't 100% confirm it yet, so it's still a mystery, Michael and I both had independent experiences of picking persuade dialogue options that we thought corresponded more so to how the characters were in personality, and more often than not, it seemed like it had a higher chance of working even when it was a high difficulty check, which makes me think that maybe there is something working in the background that keeps track of the context and character, which if true is really cool. But that's speculative bit aside. Another awesome part of persuasion is that background, traits, and skills can also factor into the system. For example, you may get into a persuade check, and then in brackets there will be an option like wanted.
Did he literally get shot 0 times there?
Or space scoundrel or intimidation, and these have an improved chance of succeeding in these contexts. Anyways, the persuade system and dialogue in general is really damn good. And that brings me to my next point. The writing in general is far better than previous games in terms of actual dialogue and quest design, which I'll talk more on later. But talking to people...
I mean, that's true, but again, I feel that this review is like a heavy miss at the moment. The dialogue can be good, you know, for the main quest. Literally, that's it. Everything else outside of the main quest is pretty fucking shit dialogue. It was even trending on Twitter that the NPCs in this game are garbage. We literally have another one Mass Effect Andromeda, like my face is tired, sorry situation here with this game. If we exclude the main quest, it's not good.
People is really enjoyable. They feel like real characters, and I'm always keen to see what unique options I might have due to my specific background, traits, and skills. So my advice is to carefully consider your role-playing angle and pick your background and traits accordingly. We are so excited for role-playing builds. Absolutely subscribe to the channel if you're keen to see what we are cooking. So many great experiences to be had in this game. This game is huge. There is so much content and it feels like it just keeps going. There's tons of side quests, faction quest lines, obviously the main story, Radiant missions, and so much exploring to do. Of course, too, there is all...
What exploring exactly is there honestly to do?
The random encounters that are possible as well, and the things you come across upon the worlds. Honestly, it's kind of hard to encapsulate the scope, plus we have all these different systems to talk about, but I'll get there. I'll try to break it down into some categories, so I won't say anything about the main questline other than I have completed it in full and I really enjoyed it. But the other thing to mention, which I love, is that there isn't this desperate sense of urgency that feels like it's encouraging you to burn through the story quickly. We've critiqued before that both Skyrim's desperate plea to save Skyrim from dragons and Fallout 4's quick save your son style of main story gives you a sense of urgency that pulls you away from sinking in and enjoying the open world. Starfield's story is fantastic in the way it is patient and doesn't make you feel rushed. It makes sense that you would just pursue other quests or explore or go...
Well, that technically means you don't care about the main story in that case. I'm not gonna call that exactly a positive, you know?
Go and do whole other factions without suspending disbelief in a role-playing sense. There are 4 main factions in the game and we have played through all of them, and honestly they feel like main stories in themselves. We had a fantastic experience with each of them, and for the most part they aren't typecast around a playstyle, so any character could approach any of the quest lines, but they most certainly provide different role-playing experiences.
Well, yeah, that was honestly to be expected, because not a single previous Bethesda game has had a faction that was based around a certain playstyle. Oh, what about Brotherhood of Assassins? Yeah. Yeah, tell me how you used stealth there, bucko. You didn't. Relax. Even the Brotherhood of Assassins is not actually about assassination or stealth. Don't try to give me that shit.
Michael and I played very different characters, and there were many options for different ways we could take the quests during faction plots. Things that made you feel as if your input matters. Honestly, they are really well done. I don't want to say too much, but man, I would highly recommend you take your time with the main story and enjoy all the factions and side content. Calling it side content honestly feels like a slur. It's honestly so good. Calling it side stuff makes it seem like it's the chips when it's actually an additional giant burger with a thick shake. I want to talk about the environments themselves, but just some quick notes on Radiant content. The missions, the on-planet encounters, honestly, it's all really well done. Radiant content has existed before, but the way it is implemented in Starfield makes it feel like an authentic part of the experience rather than this extra rubbish to do. Things like bounty hunting, transporting cargo, pirating, surveying, and exploring, there's all this kind of stuff that factors into your role-playing character. If you want to be a bankrolling trader who owns a giant cargo ship, you absolutely can. Ship customization is so mad. Honestly, there is so much good about this game and so much to do that...
Oh no, he's calling ship customization good. Okay, I think we found a Bethesda fanboy at this rate. Someone commented this before on my video, and they said, Starfield is the space exploration game where your ship is just a set piece. And that's true. Because the space combat is stupid. The ship customization is honestly, well, fucking garbage. That's honestly it. Everyone's just, oh, you can build your ship like a Lego. That's so cool. Yeah, no one get. Okay, okay, sure. Make a penis rocket. Who? Yeah, that doesn't mean that the thing's good. They just allow you to make a penis rocket for no reason. You can't actually fly it around space because the space is actually just, you know, a thing with a random event in it, pretty much always, without question. You can't fly it around the, you know, planet because the spaceship doesn't exist there. It's a space game where your spaceship doesn't serve a purpose. It's hilarious.
I feel at times like just blurting it all out at once. You don't know how hard it is to condense these thoughts into some kind of structure. Speaking of which, back to environments. This was probably the biggest difference compared to previous Bethesda games. There is no longer a single traversable map. There are big main cities, space stations, settlements, and facilities, but these are spread out across the galaxy. And if you were to play the game going from place to place, it can feel more like a hub-based game. However, this is still a Bethesda sandbox RPG, and if you shake off the imagined constraints at first, you realize...
hello?
You can just power pack on top of a tall tower, or just walk out of a city and...
hello? Why the fuck are you lagging suddenly? Viscusi, what's going on here? What's going on?
Off into the vast wilderness.
Yeah, whatever.
I will admit at first I found it a little bit jarring, but once I got used to the new layout of a galaxy rather than a single map, I found myself enjoying it so much.
Okay, let me explain how it really is. This is the worst exploration game Bethesda has delivered ever. Okay, there is not a singular Bethesda game that has worse exploration than Starfield, sadly. Okay, because when you land on a world, there's either nothing or there's like a couple of directions that you can go, and while you're traversing to those directions, usually there's literally nothing there. There's literally nothing there. You're just playing the worst kind of walking simulator, because when you play Fallout, while you're walking somewhere, you actually see something on the way. When you're playing Skyrim, same thing. You actually find something along the way. In this game, though, you find nothing. There is nothing along the way. You just need to run until you get to the place you want to be, and then you load into a different place. That's it. That is literally it. There is nothing to explore. And if you try to explore in a direction that is not marked as an objective, well, you're gonna hit a wall, an invisible wall. It's the worst exploration that Bethesda has ever delivered.
In fact, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed exploring the wilderness, seeing new creatures and biomes, and also being an explorer is a totally valid playstyle and can yield lots of experience. There are so many types of things you can do, but I'll try and stay on track here. The planets can vary a lot in biomes like tropical forests, wetlands, deciduous forests, frozen plains, red rock canyon type environments, all kinds of creatures, and so many awesome experiences just occur from exploring. Those first moments of seeing some brontosaurus tier creatures roaming the plains, or seeing flying manta ray type things floating about, and coral crabs racing to kill some herd animal only for it to then get hunted by a pack of trapmaws. And then you may come across a wounded settler seeking help, or you might find a science outpost, or an abandoned factory, or some weird fungus.
CO2, by the way, is the stamina bar. I don't know why they did it like that. Who honestly knows, right?
Ecosystem. And if you get to a planet where gravity is low, it can be so fun when you can basically fly with your boost pack. Exploring the untamed worlds was far better than I expected, and low-key, it's one of my favorite things to do. Mind you, it is much better if you spec into the explorer-related skills. But as for civilization, the cities feel much more like cities compared to previous.
This is the first person who even remotely mentions that exploration is fun or good in this game. Honestly, I have never heard anyone even remotely talk about exploration as a good thing in this game.
BGS titles, with lots of random citizens walking around, and this is just much better. Makes the city feel much livelier and scale appropriate. But the cities are also quite fast, with lots of tucked away sections and places to explore.
The cities
and
are
quests to
better.
do. And man, the aesthetics are just really cool. Neon, Aquila, and Atlantis are the three main ones, each with a distinctive feel. But there are also lots of other good-sized town-type places to find, and other cool spots to get stuck into, like the Red Mile or Paradiso. I won't say much, but there is lots to see and experience. Beautiful cities, beautiful environments, and intentionally ugly places really do make the galaxy feel vast and rich. You may also know that you can build bases in this game. Coming off the back of...
Imagine not going blind in this city, by the way. Just imagine that.
Fallout 4, I was concerned about Starfield having an emphasis on base building and scrapathon tier experiences.
Only
However,
at the
those
end
concerns
game.
have vanished. Base building truly is optional. It's not pushed on you at all, which I really...
It is pushed on you. Because at the end you need a lot of resources. So then you are forced to make a base. You're not forced to make a base at the start. Like, at all, by the way. Like, literally, pretty much at all. But in the end game, oh boy, you are forced.
And collecting resources is so neatly entwined with the experience of exploring worlds and seeing what's over the next horizon that I never felt as if I was doing this boring, laborious job. I don't know how at the moment to convey what I mean, but I could let Todd Howard do the talking and say, it just works. Most of the systems and gameplay mechanics feel so neatly integrated into the core experience that I never feel that I'm bored doing one particular thing, or that I have to grind this one section or something like that. If you set up an outpost or multiple, you can create system networks of shared resources and efficient mining operations, or perhaps you want to grow plants or just have a scenic spot for your house. Also, we have to talk about shipbuilding. The shipbuilding is so damn cool. There is so much potential for role-playing, even if you aren't trying to be a flying ace. You could kit your ship out like a luxury space limo for your corporate money-hungry agent, or making it a cargo hauler for your trucker trader, or...
I mean, that's true, but what's the point of that? It changes pretty much, honestly, almost nothing.
Or making some cool bounty hunting ship for your iconic character. There are so many statistical options and different ship stats, but then also there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into the structural and aesthetic options. I personally can't help making ships look like some Dune concept art fruity retro thing. Also, it can function as a home basically if you want. You can change the configuration of the levels and the types of room modules, but unlike a bought home or an outpost, you can't change the furniture positioning. I'm keen to try and make an Ebon Hawk ship. I guess while talking about systems, I should mention there is researching for new upgrades, weapon modification, spacesuit modification, chem making, food cooking. Man, so much to just get out. We plan on making guides for these different facets of the games, and I know for sure ship design will be factoring into all our role-playing builds.
This doesn't feel like I played $300. No, this feels like, okay, this is what Starfield is expected to be. This is what Todd Howard said there's gonna be in the... I'm like super let down, I'm not gonna lie.
They're basically characters in themselves, so do be sure to subscribe for those. Okay, let's break up the stuff talk a bit and talk more about who you are. We covered the fantastic role-playing of this game, but now let's talk more about the leveling and the skills, because again, this was the system layout I was
someone talking about the skill tree. That's insanity.
A little skeptical of at first. Essentially, you unlock a skill, and when you complete the requisite challenge for that skill, you can spend a skill point to unlock a new rank, with new benefits and a new challenge for the next rank. It's like a hybrid of level by doing and Fallout 4's more XP perk-based system. I really enjoy this system, having spent a lot of time with it. I've typically preferred more XP perk-centric systems, but what I really like is that the system incentivizes you to spend time engaging in the use of the skill, and it's often given me reasons to go out and tackle the world. It really is quite a simple system, but in a good way. Being critical, I don't think there is as much X factor as there have been with perks beforehand, but at the same time, all of the skills and advancing them are very specific to playstyles and seem to confer very tangible benefits that reward that investment. Plus, as I said, they show up in dialogue. Also, it does make for a situation where you will want to consider your priorities of skill acquisition so that you can complete the challenges as you play. We'll definitely expound upon all of this in a starter build guide coming.
Okay, I mean, that's true, but let's be real here, okay? It's bland and it's boring because all you saw what he showed, right? It's all just percentages. Oh, more damage, more. Yeah, that's literally it. This is as boring as it gets. Like honestly, this is worse than Fallout 76, and that game has one of the worst perk systems in existence. Okay. But this is probably worse than that. Because it's boring, it's bland, and even if something has interaction, you're probably not gonna use it. Let's be real here. So yeah, this is probably one of the most blander and worst skill trees ever. But props on them for actually at least talking about it, because no one talks about it. It's so bad and forgettable, most people just choose to not talk about it.
Very soon. But if I have to say one thing, this game really respects your playstyle. With a combination of different skills, ways to approach quests, role-playing background and traits, and general diversity of dialogue, there are ways...
I mean, that's true. There's a % increase for everything that you would ever imagined actually doing. So that's kind of neat. But again, overall useless. Like, I mean, again, look. Wow. Wow, so cool. No.
Is to play Starfield where you can really just choose to live in the world. This more open, organic style of classless system, I find, is much better when combined with the background and traits that determine the role-playing aspects. For example...
By the way, I say this, but the reality in-game, you're gonna kind of like it because it's an actual good progression system. The thing about getting rank 1 and needing to do things to level it up, that's actually kind of fun. That's actually kind of cool. It actually works. It just works, as the best snake oil merchant in the universe has told me. It just works. But it's true. Like, if only this was more interesting, but it's not, sadly.
example, if I could have played Skyrim and selected the background Thalmor agent as a high elf, and then that factored into dialogue and perhaps even made the embassy quest easier, then that would be really cool, but you don't need a class system to do this. In the same sense, Fallout New Vegas had fruity perks to choose from, like tribal wisdom that improved role-playing, but in Starfield it feels like you get to pick these kinds of things up front via traits and backgrounds and carry them throughout the game. And
yeah, but it's a very specific. Again, it's like they give you, oh, so you grew up on the slums of Neon. Yeah, that's true. But the moment you go to like Neon and wow, you have options. Wow, you have, and those options don't exist anywhere else. It's like you pick. In a sense, it's stupid, but it works. And you know why it works? Because you're playing what you want to roleplay as. If you're playing as like some kind of slumlord millionaire, you're not gonna have like bureaucratic choices when you meet the governor of the world or whatever. You're not gonna have those special choices. But in the slums where you can't, because that's what you're interested in, you do have special choices, which kind of balances it out. But in reality, it's sort of an illusion that they actually gave you role-playing things. I don't know. It's kind of hard to quantify, but I hope you at least kind of understand vaguely what I'm hinting at. I don't think I explained it properly, though. But whatever.
Into your dialogue. With all the builds coming your way, there will be so much talk of all the statistical bits and pieces, so just know that I thoroughly enjoyed the leveling system in action, and the character creation with backgrounds and traits is mint. So if you are familiar at all with our channel and our history of Fallout 4 and Skyrim builds, you would know that role-playing is huge for us, and a part of what sells a character's vibe is how they look, what they wear, and what they use. And so coming into Starfield, we had concerns about the aesthetic options available. You know, there's a lot of spacesuits. Functionally, you have an apparel option, kind of like Fallout 3 or New Vegas, no Fallout 4 layered system here. These are just your clothes which you can wear in settlements and breathable planets. And as a plus note, there are a whole bunch of options and there is little statistical variation, meaning that you can pretty much wear whatever you like as clothing for the perfect feel of the character. But when it comes to your spacesuit, your space helmet, and your pack, you will often be prioritizing functionality over aesthetic appeal. But I can deal with that as long as I have cool clothes when out and about in settlements. Plus, later on you can find better versions of the same spacesuits and use an earlier aesthetic that you enjoyed. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of cool looking spacesuits, but again, by the nature of the item type being spacesuits,
I don't know, I don't think a lot of people care about how the spacesuits look, honestly. Because you're not playing in third person most of the time in reality.
In a space game, there aren't as
like,
many
are you really
gonna
play a Fallout game
at the moment. There is a wide variety of your typical weapons and various of each type. For example, I played a gunslinger that had like 6 different pistols, each with different ammo types available, all benefiting from my pistol skill. The same kind of variety is available with every weapon type, except perhaps with laser weapons. I have found fewer of those, but still.
I mean, this has been a thing in literally Fallout 1. It says the same in literally Fallout 1, dude. I don't know why you're so excited about the pistol skill being the pistol skill. Like, what the fuck did you expect? That the pistol skill is gonna allow you to use swords better? It's like, no. Of course it's gonna work on pistols. Bruh.
Still, there are some unique weapons with unique names and sometimes unique skins and appearances, but typically the bulk of your special stuff comes from random loot and vendors. There is a tiered rarity system for weapons you find. White is just standard, blue is rare and has 1 special effect, purple is epic and has 2 effects, orange is legendary and has 3 special effects. So you may...
yes, and dude, I just love the fact that Starfield is the worst kind of sci-fi, where it's like, okay, melee weapons work. Why? Well, not because everyone's using a shield so powerful to stop any projectile, but because reasons. Because reasons, pretty much.
For instance, find a basic Maelstrom rifle, but it's legendary. It's functionally the same in terms of raw stats, but the special effects augment it. For example, I had a legendary helmet that had 3 effects. Chameleon when crouched, minus 20% oxygen consumption, and minus 20% resource weight. Exploding round shotguns, fast...
Essentially a little bit advanced, a little bit of more advanced system than what Fallout also Fallout 76 has. You know, but I'm actually thinking Fallout 4.
Fire rates, poison axes, this rarity system provides an additional layer to the weapon choice system, but it is a randomized feature, though this always makes you keen to explore and see what cool gear you might find. You can of course take any of these weapons and mod the hell out of them, but you do need the weapon engineering skill for that. Sure, I'd rather there be some more true uniques in the game, but I'm happy enough with the weapon variety both from a functionality and aesthetic point of view, though it doesn't have as much X factor as say a Mace of Molag Bal or an Ebony Blade, but honestly it feels like a good robust selection to me. So in terms of using all of this stuff, the combat feels really good to me. The boost pack is one of the best things for the game. So much maneuverability in combat, and having enemies being able to jetpack to better vantage points or away from your attacks makes them much more engaging to fight. Gunplay is what you would expect. It depends on how good at shooters you are. Melee feels surprisingly good and is quite fun. The gameplay showcase absolutely did not do it justice. Space combat in ships has a bit of a learning curve, but if you do pick it up, and especially if you invest into related starship skills, you will have an awesome time. Many cool moments dogfighting in asteroid fields. Again, you will see us talking about it more. And
many cool moments in dogfighting? Are you kidding me? This is easily the worst part of the game by far. There's no such thing as a dogfight. What the fuck are you even talking about? This is how it works. This is you. This is your enemy. You face each other. You start. You start accelerating towards each other, and you shoot. You pass. You turn. You do it again. Pass, turn, do it again, and you do that until your opponent has died. That's it. What dog fights? I mean, props for technically being kind of realistic, I guess, but no one wants realism in this. Bruh. This is without question the worst part of the game.
Explain playstyles in upcoming builds, but we like it a lot. One thing to note is that you can intentionally avoid space combat by just grav jumping away or paying up to those who are trying to take your creds, or other methods, but there isn't much forced ship combat. A few instances in a couple of the quest lines. I kind of said this before, but there are so many valid playstyles in this game. You can just be an explorer xenobiologist, scanning planets, or a beast hunter, or you can be a corporate ninja, or a captain of an Ebon Hawk-like ship as a diplomat character with lots of crew. You could be an industrialist, creating a system of mining outposts and manufactories. There is everything you would expect and more. Overall,
okay, no, that's true. You know, the settlement system is like Fallout 4, but on steroids. A lot of steroids.
I have to say again, they've done a really good job of rewarding you depending on your playstyle choices. There aren't really any useless occupations. And moving on to the final part of our thoughts, quests. Bethesda has really improved its writing chops a lot. From dialogue to characters to interesting plots and rewarding quest design, Starfield has it all. Most quests have multiple ways of achieving the same goal, allowing for multiple approaches, combat, stealth, dialogue, having a lot of money. There's lots of options to explore, and there is a good set of choices and consequences. Throughout side quests and factions, there have been choices I made where I felt real consequences. For instance, if someone says they're going to come back and kill you for something you did, they probably will track you down. I mentioned before that the main story and factions are great, but even the side quests are awesome. It's worth exploring cities fully and taking your time. There is so much I still haven't seen. Honestly, the quality of this game is amazing considering its scale. There's also plenty of cool random encounters, some of which may be related to your character traits or background. I also want to say that there seems to be 4 main companions who are responsive in dialogue and will chime in on your missions.
He's not even mentioning the combat, by the way. Why would you not mention the combat? The combat, by the way, is like, have good gun, combat feels good. Have bad gun, combat feels shit. I'll give you the golden standard in case a developer is watching this. Whenever you make a weapon that is a pistol and it has full automatic mode, whenever that pistol can use up all of its clip or whatever it has in a single basic enemy, and that enemy does not die, and I'm reloading, you just made the worst shooting game ever, and Starfield has some of that, okay?
They are characters that are really involved, and they are well written. There are other companions that feel less involved and more just like a follower, but I still need to confirm and explore the extent
He's
of
just
these options.
scratching
I would have
them.
liked if there were some more variety in companions, if I'm being honest. It's not so much the amount, but
So
rather the
funny.
similarity. Ideologically, all the main ones are quite similar, and it's a little frustrating that there isn't a quality companion with more dubious morals,
Right.
especially if you are role-playing a more criminal character. At the end of the day, Starfield is amazing. We are so happy, and there is so much to explore, and after 300 hours, we can truly say this is one of the Bethesda greats. It just works. Now, while we have completed the main story, all the factions,
I don't know.
heaps of side quests, it still seems like we have heaps more to see, and we need to complete all the content the game has to offer and explore many more characters to give a
I don't know, dude. This is like the most meager fucking Starfield review I have ever seen so far. It's like, it literally grapples none of the core mechanics, even into a smidgen of depth. It just says, wow, roleplay mechanics. Remember when Bethesda made games that had actual dialogue options? Yeah, it's almost back. Well, it's technically back. So yeah, that's it. Wow. Absolutely, honestly, just wow. They don't have an outro. Well, anyway, that's fucking Fudge Muppet. Wow. This is probably the first review of Starfield I have seen so far, honestly. Absolute garbage dumpster fire, 2 out of 10. Wow, what a review. Anyway, this was Quizzer Sid. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.